Greetings, Lumen students. You may be wondering, what am I doing under a table for your Thursday video? Well, I have a couple of really fun ideas of ways you can enhance your studies of the Renaissance as well as our language arts topic of the dash today, but I needed a table to do it. The Sistine Chapel ceiling that was painted by Michelangelo is one of the most famous Renaissance pieces. And you saw earlier this week Michelangelo standing in front of this incredible creation. We're going to learn a little bit more about how he actually did that. For a long time, people believed that he laid on his back on a scaffolding and painted like this above his head. We now know that he was actually not laying down, but he was, his painting arm was raised and his neck had to be lifted to be able to see the detail of his art. And so even though he was standing, it was a really challenging piece to create. Well, I want you to get a feel for painting a Sistine Chapel ceiling by painting underneath your kitchen table. This is just a fun project you can try with your parents' permission. So I'm going to I've got my paper already up here, and I've got my brush. The pieces on the Sistine Chapel are stories from the Bible. And so you may want to create a picture of a Bible story as well. Noah's Ark might be a fun one to draw. How well do you think you could draw animals upside down? Laying on your back or on your knees with your arms raised above your head. Not going to be too easy. The creation of the world is another fun biblical piece you could do. And so I encourage you to explore this different and unique way to paint. You might want to consider having some old clothes on and something that you don't care about getting dirty, because you may get painted on as the paint falls onto your head from above. I'm almost done with my masterpiece, and I will show you what it looks like and get it down, because it relates to the second enrichment activity I wanted to tell you about. This has to do with our language arts studies this week. We have been learning about a form of punctuation called the dash, and you can see my tombstone here. I have created a tombstone with a big dash on it. And it says rest in peace, or RIP, R-I-P. And then imagine this was from 2011 to 2091, or 1811 to 1891. I didn't have room for the year. But the dash goes in between those dates on the tombstone. Well, in your studies this week for week 17, there is a poem, and I want to read you this poem. It's called The Dash Poem by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represented all the time that she spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved her knew what that little line was worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. To be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? I think that's a fantastic poem, referring again to this line. This punctuation mark forces a pause, doesn't it? Like a speed bump we talked about in language arts. That it's a strong place to slow down, also a place where an interruption happens. In the case of this poem, it represents someone's whole life in between their birth over here and their death over here. The poem also mentions a eulogy, and this is a fun writing activity that you may want to consider doing this week. Of course, it's optional, but you can decide as a family if this would be something fun to try. Decide that you had to go forward into the future and imagine that you were writing your eulogy or listening to your eulogy being read. Okay, what kinds of things would the person at the funeral say about you? What kind of person were you? What kind of things did you do? What job did you have? How many kids? What kind of a family did you have? Where did you live? It's like jumping in a time machine and going forward 75 years to the end of your life and just having fun imagining what your life would have been like. To write a eulogy, you just reflect back on that person. And so you're kind of doing it ahead of time. What would your eulogy be like? Some of the things you might want to include again are, what kind of person were you? What career did you have? What job did you do? Maybe what adventures did you have? What places did you travel or see? What was your family life like? How many kids did you have? Where did you live? All kinds of things you can include in your eulogy, and it's just a fun writing activity. Just to get a piece of paper, you can shape it like a tombstone if you want to, and write an imaginary eulogy as if it was the end of your life. Well, the final enrichment activity that I have for you to try involves a piece of paper, a pair of scissors, and a paper clip. Items that I think you probably have just around your home. We're going to take that piece of paper and cut a rectangle that is about 2 inches wide and we'll say approximately 5 to 6 inches long. Okay. Here's my rectangle. I'm going to cut about halfway up that rectangle. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to slice over just a little bit onto the sides. Not very much, because I need to fold these pieces in to the center, okay, so that it looks kind of like that. Okay. I actually didn't need to cut that slit in the middle. I don't know what I was thinking there. So if you want to, you can just cut these 2 slits on the side. That's all you really need. And then fold into the middle. And then we're going to fold up the bottom and stick the paper clip in place. And we are making a rotocopter. This is inspired by the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. He had drawn the first helicopter, the first flying machine with rotating blades that would fly like straight up, like this, in a circular motion. And so this is a fun way to experience your own flying machine and make one for yourself. Now I'm going to cut down between my 2 helicopter blades. I'm going to fold one back and I'm going to fold one forward. Okay. So it looks, as I finish, like that. Next, I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to see if you can see it comes circling down just like this. Yeah, I wish I could slow this video down. But my helicopter is rotating. You can stand on a chair to get even a better height. Stand on your table. Let's paint under the table and stand on the table to throw our rotocopters. Only with your parents' permission, of course. You can experiment with different sizes, with different weights of paper, experience with different sizes of paper clips. If I flip my things like that, the direction my rotocopter spins is going to change. And you can experience that as well. If my instructions weren't good enough, let's try it one more time. Okay, again, we're making a rectangle about 2 inches wide and about 5 inches long. I'm going to fold it in half just so I know where to cut my slits. And then I'm going to cut some slits about a quarter. I'm going to just leave a section in the middle, okay, so that I'm not separating it. And then I'm going to fold these in on top of each other. My bottom is folded up to allow the paper clip to grasp it. Okay. So the paper clip goes straight up and down over the fold on the back. Next, I'm going to cut a slit down through my 2 blades. And I'm going to fold one forward and one back. All right, there we go. My rotocopter is ready to fly. Oh, not too good on this one. What did I do wrong? There we go. Just needed some more space. Okay, have fun, students, experimenting with this rotocopter and playing around with even your own flying machines. Experiment with paper airplanes. See which one you can make go the longest. And you will be acting like a scientist like Leonardo da Vinci and creating the way he did. We're going to learn more about the Renaissance and continue our language arts studies later this week, or next week, excuse me. But thanks for joining us for this Thursday enrichment video. See you later.